up to $500,000 with this BLOC strategy. This is a very strategic, specific, planned out sequence that you can do with BLOCs. What does BLOC stand for? It stands for business lines of credit. Now, this is totally different than a credit card. A credit card is a revolving line of credit. However, it is not attached to cash. A BLOC, business line of credit, is attached to cash. So if I have a $50,000 BLOC, business line of credit, that's $50,000 straight cash in a bank. The difference between that and a credit card, you have to liquidate if you're trying to get, you have to find creative ways to get the money off the card, but a BLOC is straight cash in the bank. Now, the downside is, well, for most people that are trying to, run the no doc stuff, is that a BLOC usually requires, number one, 2 years in business. Number two, now the trend is it's going to be a lot more documentation. Now, there are certain thresholds, there's certain limits that you can get up to with no documentation, but a lot of them are at the very minimum low doc, and that's usually like 3 months bank statements. Some of them are full doc, 2 years tax returns, P&Ls, some bank statements. So you want to make sure everything is in place. So this is a strategy, a sequence that could take 8, 12, 24 months for you to plan. You have to be very strategic about this. You have to know data points from each bank, what they do. So I'm going to go over some of these strategies. But before I get started, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell notification. That way you're going to notified whenever I post a new video. Also, smash that like button. Smash that like button. It really does help with the algorithm. Also, link in the description. Join my free group where we talk about personal credit, business credit, and leveraging all that to create cash flow, to create new sources of income. All right, so we're going to get started. So one of the banks. So I have 6 banks or 6 places I can obtain this type of funding. So again, you have to know these certain data points and how that bank usually starts to, all their data points to get that funding. So one of the banks that I'm going to go to, but this will be at the end of my sequence, would be a Chase Bank. So they actually have a business line of credit that most people don't know about, or most people don't talk about because they don't really promote it as much, right? But they do have business lines of credit up to $250,000. Okay, now usually it's up to $100,000, no financials. Does that mean if you apply, you're gonna get that? They might not ask for docs, but it's up to their discretion that they would ask for docs, 3 months bank statements, maybe some tax return. So when I say no doc, that's usually the general rule, but something in your credit report, something in your profile, something might trigger that for them to ask for some documentation. But the general rule is up to $100,000, no financial. This is directly from a Chase business banker, right? So that's the difference. So they go up to $250,000. Now, fun fact with Chase, across business and personal, the total credit limit exposure is $250,000. What does that mean? Across any business, across personal and business, the threshold that they will lend out to is $250,000. Okay, so if you're trying to get $100,000 BLOC from them, you want to make sure that you don't have credit cards either on the personal side or the business side that can affect that up to $100,000. I know you can move limits around. But just keep that in mind. That's a data point. That's a gem that a lot of people don't know about. So they have a threshold across personal business, $250,000. Now another thing that a lot of people don't know or don't talk about, or maybe are just starting to find out, with business lines of credit, a lot of banks actually do what's called a UCC filing. I forget what the UCC stands for, but essentially it's just a lien against your business, right? And usually they're in first position. What that means is, in case Chase has a UCC filing on any amount you borrow, and what that means is they have a lien against your business. So if you try to get another BLOC with another bank, that's going to show up. They'll see that UCC filing on your business. So it's going to be hard to get funding from other banks when they see that UCC filing. Now, the trick is you want to, each bank, except some banks don't. It could be $1, it could be $10, it could be $50, whatever. Any amount you borrow from BLOC, they put a UCC filing. So Chase is one of them, right? It doesn't matter what the amount is. They put a UCC filing, and it's a lien against your business, okay? So what the trick is, the hack is this is where I talk about being strategic. You have to do that at the end of your sequence, right? So if you save that BLOC from at the end of your sequence, because there's banks that don't that you get up to a certain threshold where they don't where they don't do a UCC filing. So a lot of the cases up to 50,000, no UCC filing. Anything over that, they put a lien against your business, right? In other words, they'll put a lien against your business, so it makes it harder for you to get other types of funding, specifically BLOCs, because they can actually see on the business credit report that you have a lien against the business, that you borrow some money. So they're asking, why do you need to borrow more money? So that's a gem right there. So I would save that to the end of the sequence. So I don't know each threshold for each bank I'm going to go over, but just know each bank does have that. Some don't have it. It doesn't matter what the amount is. So another bank that you can get a business line of credit up to $250,000 is American Express. And the good thing about them, now this would be, again, you have to have a minimum of 680. You have to do a minimum of gross, $3,000 a month. Gross doesn't mean profit, and you have to have a minimum of 1 year in business. They'll connect to your bank account using Plaid, and what that is just seeing some deposits. But one thing that you can do to approve higher limits, I've seen it, is have 10, 15, 20,000 in that bank account seasoned, and then when they connect Plaid, they'll see that, and then they can give you a higher limit. I've seen someone told me that they got 100,000 and they only had a 15,000 in their business bank account. So they're going to connect to your business bank account. Okay. So Bank of America, business line of credit up to 50,000. Truist, up to 50,000. Anything over that is definitely docs. And I'm assuming anything over that, they're going to put a UCC filing. Assuming the same thing with Bank of America. PNC up to 100,000, no documentation, but very likely that you might get triggered and they may ask for some documentation. I'm assuming same thing with PNC. Again, I have to confirm these data points, but I'm assuming anything over 50,000, it's probably going to be a UCC filing. Okay, so we got PNC, they go up to 100,000. So what you want to do is you don't want to get that BLOC. You want to meet their threshold, so you can ask the banker, what's the threshold? What limit can I get up to where you guys don't file a UCC filing? Okay, usually it's 50,000. So if I can get 50 from Truist, 50 from Bank of America, 50 from PNC, that's 150,000. Wells Fargo up to 100,000. Let's say that anything after 50 is a UCC filing, so that's 50. That's 200. Then I can do American Express, 100K or 50,000 or 75,000, and then save Chase, the one that does have a UCC filing, save that at the end, so I can get up to $500,000 straight liquid cash in the bank, and I can use that, and I can be strategic and use that. Let's say I want to buy a $5 million business, I can use 10%. When you use an SBA loan, you can put 10% down on a $5 million business. So that's $500,000 cash, $5 million. At a $5 million business, you're probably generating a ton of revenue. Obviously, it's $5 million. You got to see what that gross profit is, but that's how you level up. That's how you be strategic. You can convert all that business line of credit, invest that into a big business that's generating a ton of cash, 10% down on a $5 million business, and you're all set. Guys, that's my time. My name is Toby Rosario. Peace.